Hello all, it's that time of year when videos of these things start popping up all over the place, specifically the Chinese ones. However, this year I've been noticing something that I don't really like. I've been seeing a lot of negativity popping up towards these things, especially from people within the van world, the van life community. People have been calling them dangerous, unsafe, and then pushing much more expensive products as an alternative and saying you should buy them instead. The problem is they're either getting paid to say that directly, they're either getting commission through an affiliate program for everyone that's bought online, or they've got a business, which is even worse, and they're getting commission on the more expensive product, so they're trying to upsell you on it. Everyone has to make a living, but don't step on the people that supported you to get where you are today. Whenever someone tells you that the cheaper version of a product is crap and you should buy the more expensive one, before you make any decision, look at what that person has to gain from you buying that more expensive one and base your decision on that. To give you an example of just how expensive some of this crap people are talking about is, there's a brand called Autoterm, which is what a lot of YouTube people are being given now, and for this part of it, so it looks exactly the same, but if you want a little LCD screen, which is standard with pretty much all of these ones, this is £100 optional extra on the Autoterm one. So in other words, the screen on its own costs more than this entire heater did, and then you've got to pay an additional 500 quid for the rest of the heater if you want that. Yeah, it's just crazy, to be honest. And at the end of the day, they all do the same thing, whether it's Chinese, Autoterm, Airbuspatcher. They all burn diesel and make hot air. That's it. That's their only job in life. The Airbuspatcher models are over 1,000 quid. I think that is what these are, like a direct copy of. And at the end of the day, they're all going to go wrong. Doesn't matter what it is, German, Russian, Chinese, doesn't matter. It's going to go wrong. It's just what they do. And which one do you think has the most availability and affordability on the spare parts market? I'll give you a minute. These heaters are not dangerous. As long as you install them with a bit of common sense, they're fine. This is the standard mounting plate that they all come with. It's a bit flimsy, a bit crap, but it works. All of the heaters I use here, in the vans, they're all on this. You can get, they call it the turret mount, which is better, but it's a bit more money. Same sort of thing, thicker steel, and it has a steel ring welded on, so you get a much cleaner install. This thing just mounts on the bottom of there, and then you have a silicone gasket around there to stop the gases coming out. So as long as everything from this point is outside of the living space, it can't really go wrong, even if you get a leak on the exhaust or something like that. You can still get leaks from these. The gaskets here can fail. This one you have to make sure is always properly secure. That's the glow plug. But again, a set of these gaskets is about a tenner. You know, even if you change them once a year, it's just maintenance when you give it a clean. The main issue I've actually ran into with these heaters is the bearings. This thing here is the motor, and the bearings that sit on the end of this, where the fan spins, they will fail if you're using it a lot. So you can either wait till they fail or just change them right off the bat for some better ones. Again, these were dead cheap. I will write the size of these in the description or on the screen, whatever. Change for some nice bearings, and then I've never had a problem since. If this bearing fails, you'll hear it start to fail, it'll get grindy, this will get loose, and eventually it will collapse and stop. You don't want that to happen. That results in an overheat, and then you end up with a burn chamber that looks like that. But again, did it burn my house down? No. It just stopped. If you live in the UK and you want one of these put in a van, but you're really stuck, or you just wouldn't want to tackle a job like this, you know, you got to drill a big hole in the bottom of your van, so there is a bit involved, but there's people that can help you. You got Liam, Coalition Vans. They will install one of these for you, no problem. If you're wanting to put one in a house, you're probably on your own, if we're honest. I don't think there's any people that, like companies, that'll install these in houses. I might be wrong, no idea. I'll show you one of my setups quickly, just behind you there. I've had a diesel heater running in here for 3.5 years now. So this is outside, we were just sitting in there. This is obviously the back end of my heater. This dog's dinner here, -30 in plastic, don't mix very well, so this box fell to bits. But all that is what contains the pump. This is the fuel pump. So that is sitting in there with foam all around, because the ticking that you can hear now, that does my head in. So I have to put that outside. But it's gone through 2 winters like this, so it'll be fine anywhere else in the world, basically. But the pump sits in there floating at 45 degrees. That's very important, otherwise it won't function properly. And then this is obviously the exhaust coming out here with a little silencer on it. So these are double paned windows, and this is all sealed up. This whole section here up to there is a sealed box, and then the heater comes through on a plate on the inside, and then I've just put this one on just to shield it, basically, with an air gap here, because the air intake is also inside there, so it sucks the air in there, exhausts it out of there. So this is my setup. Not too much to see because I've got the bubble wrap on there, but you know what it looks like. So that's just sitting on the wall sideways like this, which is absolutely fine. They can run like that, or vertically, or you know, whatever. However, if they do run on the side like this, the important thing is that the glow plug here is pointing up. You can't run them this way, or you're then going to have problems with flooding. So like that, absolutely no problem. It runs just the same as it would if it was mounted like that. Now the best orientation you can do, this isn't perfect, this should actually be lower really, but it is okay, it's just a bit more difficult to bleed. So you see the pipe, this is a stand pipe, goes down to the bottom of this, comes out of there through a filter which wants to be vertical. So the goal is to try and get all of your fuel line below the heater, because then any air bubbles that form, anything that forms in here, can easily be sucked up and taken out, and then that just goes up, round, through the pump into the heater. Now if your heater comes with this, you're going to need to bin it, I'm afraid. I don't know why they send them with this sometimes. This is the soft tubing, doesn't work. That kind of tubing is not designed for this type of clicking pump. You need to have the hard plastic, otherwise what happens is this expands. Every click makes this expand, and it doesn't get the right amount of pressure onto the fuel, so you end up with running problems, mixture problems. So yeah, if you got that, unfortunately you're going to need to buy some of that. But again, it's dirt cheap. Any air that gets trapped in the fuel line or in the filter or anywhere works like a cushion, and it creates the same problem as the green fuel line. Then the pulses of the pump aren't as efficient as they should be, and it throws the mixture off. And with this stuff you get this with it as well to join it together. It's like a slightly bigger, soft, and you just use that on the joins and make it butt up to each other. See, like here. And then that doesn't affect the pressure, but it gives you a good seal. you can see my heating air is drawn in here. I have to do this because of the bubble wrap. It's a cold country, okay, you've got to do things to help. Goes in here, gets warmed up, comes out and into the room. And I've actually put this piece of drain pipe metal because that gets nice and hot. So when I've got wet gloves or whatever, I put them on there and that dries them out. You see the little display up here, that's the control panel running on thermostat mode, by the way. So I've got it set at 12 degrees right now. That's an optional extra on all the other heaters, quite an expensive one. You get that as standard with these ones. So you can either run it in thermostat mode or you can run it direct drive, so you can just set this at whatever speed you want the fan to be running. But I just leave it in thermostat mode because then if the temperature drops, this thing spools up to full blast by itself. And also when you first turn it on, it's then at full blast until it gets up to temperature, which is important. It's good to run these full blast regularly because that helps to keep the burn chamber clean. If you just run them on low all the time, eventually it's going to soot up and then you're going to have problems. So giving it a good blast, which if you're on thermostat it does it automatically, and then you don't need to worry. So if you look at this burn chamber, the one that overheated, although it's now knackered basically, this was running for well over a year, and in the winter I don't actually turn it off. It stays on for probably 3 to 4 months straight. But you can see, although it's got a little rusty now, there's no crap in there. That's not dirty at all. And that's because I run it in that thermostat mode. So, you know, multiple times a day this gets blasted hot, which cleans off all the soot. And just to clarify, I've got nothing to do with any of these heater companies, none of the Chinese ones, none of anything. I have no affiliations, I don't earn any money from it. I just care about the people who are rolling on a budget and want access to good, efficient heating for cheap. And like I said at the beginning, people trying to convince them that they need the expensive version of something pisses me off. So that's why I made this video. Right, I hope you got something useful from that, and I'll see you all soon. Catch you in a bit.